Mm. We are live, they said. We are live. Testing, testing. We are live, they said. ScrewTube got us under a shallow ban. And of course, as you know, I have not been on for a while. Tonight, the broadcast may be a little short today. Hit that thumbs up, like, share, subscribe. We're not going to be taking the calls. The phone system is not going to be open tonight, but we're going to be asking you to chat in the chat room. Thumbs up, like, share, and subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe. Man, we got a lot to talk about, man. On the Lawyer Henderson podcast show, we're talking about how in the hell were Afghanistan, or why in the hell were they paid $350 million a day for the war in Iraq when we as Black people are owed trillions of dollars of reparations and has not gotten our reparations. Chat now with us right there in the chat room. Leave your comments, like, share, subscribe. Also, we're going to be talking about Afghanistan. Man, they're saying that Biden is doing a horrible job. You had Trump coming out criticizing him, and they're saying that it is a total mess of a lot of Americans trying to leave Afghanistan. They're saying it is a total catastrophe over there. And, you know, it is always crisis because that's how white supremacy works. It has to work and strive on crisis and problems and issues. So you're not reporting nothing new, but we'll be talking about that today. Why is Afghanistan getting all this money, and where is our reparation? But first, we're going to talk about Larry Elder. Larry Elder is trying to run for California's governor. And we already know who Uncle Elder is. He's this old bootlicking Negro from the white wing conservative, side. And I would give the credit to the Daily Wire on this one. Larry Elder explains decision to run for governor. This is an intervention, a mission of mercy, damage control. July 15, 2020, by Hayworth. And I want a few notes here to be added here that Larry Elder running for governor of California, he mentioned Boys in the Hood and described Crenshaw High School, the high school he said he went to, as if his white audience watched Black movies like Boys in the Hood, but okay. All right, Larry Elder. Thumbs up, like, share, and subscribe. The same, here we go. And this is, like I said, on July the 15th, so I'm reading from the article probably like a month and a half ago. On Tuesday, talk radio host, author, attorney, and filmmaker Larry Elder announced that he is running to be governor of California, citing Gavin Newsom's egregious behavior, including trips to a French laundry restaurant while his own kids continued to enjoy their private and school education, as one reason for his decision. Elder spoke with the Daily Wire and said that he considered this an intervention, a mission of mercy, damage control. The state is practically ungovernable, with Democrats enjoying supermajorities at the Senate and the Assembly, plus a left-wing clueless governor totally beholden to the teachers' union that opposes choice in school, Elder added. Elder then discussed the numerous problems being experienced by California residents: rising crime, rising homelessness, declining quality of urban education, and the governor's anti-science coronavirus mandates. That was the most severe in the country, Elder noted. The man has got to go. Elder also slammed Newsom on Fox and Friends on Wednesday, Gavin Newsom has been smug in mandating all of these coronavirus restrictions, the most severe restrictions in the whole country, while he violated them. Elder said. Kids lost a whole year of education. Crime is going up. Homelessness is going up. The cost of living is insane. For the first time in the state's history, more people have left California than have come, Elder continued. Something has got to happen. We need to recall this guy. Okay? Elder then condemned Newsom for the deterioration of education in public schools. 75% of black kids in California cannot read at a state level proficiency. 50% of all kids in California in public schools cannot read at a state level proficiency. Yet the teachers union is Newsom's biggest contributor, and they hate school choice, Elder stated, adding that he supported school choice. Elder campaign website explained that he is running for governor because the decline of California isn't the fault of its people. Our government is what's running the Golden State, Elder says. Elder says, our schools are closed to both students and their parents. Our streets aren't safe from rising violent crime or the disaster of rising homelessness. And the scandals of Sacramento's aren't going to stop on their own. It's time to tell the truth. We got a state to save. Californians know we can do better. The problem with Gavin Newsom, our arrogant, out of touch governor, has got to go, and hope that I will be the person you choose to be his successor. Elder concludes. Don't feel bad for him. He can always retreat to his winery, the one that remained open during the pandemic. The man has got to go. Let's go. Let's do this together because we have a state to save. Elder adds. Elder first announced his decision on the Larry Elder Show on Tuesday, joking that Dennis Prager first approached him regarding a gubernatorial run, to which Elder answer was, "Thank you for that, but hell no." Mhm. The Daily Wire is one of America. Okay, I don't want to read all that. Okay, so here's Larry Elder telling folks that I'm a better governor than this guy. Mhm. He is the one telling folks, I can do better than Gavin Newsom. I can run the country, the state of California better than Gavin Newsom. Okay, Larry Elder. And we all know who Larry Elder is. Larry Elder's Uncle Tom. He basically was interviewed. I think it was Sheila Jackson Lee that called Larry Elder talking about black folks don't need no reparations. We know Larry Elder, of course. And like I said, I was shocked that Larry Elder watched Boys in the Hood. And I was also shocked even more that Larry Elder announced that he went to Crenshaw High School. Okay. And the crime in California, just like crime everywhere, is going to continue based upon the fact because white supremacists, they don't like to get rid of crime. They just like to you know say that they do. Crime is what feeds the police department, and what feeds your court system. The drugs is what feeds your city. So come on, okay. As it relates to black children not reading in California, again, you must recognize that the educational system must fail black children in order for white supremacy to maintain itself. So that's nothing new. And the white wing folks like to continue with this. Well, you're not making. I mean, you don't have both parents in the household, and blah blah blah. And since you don't have both parents in the household, and that's the reason why you have failed families. Okay, we have often look at that as the white wing talking points. Okay, but it's just more than just talking about broken families. Okay, we can't just basically say that broken families is the overall problem in the black communities. You know, we have to understand that the system must target Black folks. So what Larry Elder is doing is he's basically using these white supremacist talking points. And if you've seen, this crowd of his, he didn't have that much people come out, of course, because no one is really taking him serious. Some white guy came up to him and said, "Hey, you should run for president." No, we had that happen before. You remember that guy who ran for president before, who got the COVID-19 because he was a loyal Trump supporter, who later died of the coronavirus. Herm McCain. Y'all remember Herm McCain? Well, he tried to run for president too. And remember, basically, with his, you know, argument of the 999 plan, okay, taking you back here, 999 plan, But these Black conservatives, and I did an article on them, and you can go back and look at that commentary. I often ask Black conservative, what do a Black conservative conserve? Okay, because in a sense, Black people have very little. Black conservatives have very little in this society. So if you're conserving something and you're asking a question as to what you're conserving, oh, it must be the system that you're conserving. The system that has robbed you of your own skills, talent, and abilities. Okay? So Larry Elder running for governor or running for any political position is not going to change anything because, one person, of course, cannot change a whole state, cannot change a whole country. But let's just look at why Larry Elder decided that he's going to run, despite the fact that he is interested in Black education here, where he basically is using, like I said, these talking points, and yet having all this money, he is not invested in Black education. In fact, he does not even stay in a Black community. Like a lot of people who are Black who tries to claim that they're dealing with Black issues don't stay in our communities. You understand? And that's an issue. That's something that we really have to look at when we talk about who these people are, talking about what Black children can't do. We know that Black children are they're in a failed system, okay, and they're going to continue to be in a failed system the way this system is operating and run because we don't have adults who is basically brave enough to get us out of this system. A curriculum could be anything you want. And if your children is suffering in education, that means that government run schools should be the thing of the past. You have whites and Jewish people who run the system, of course, and yet their kids are not even in the school system, but they hold on to the majority of the boards and hold on to the school board and school system. Why? Because millions and millions of dollars pour into that system all the time. For instance, if you sold some chalk to the Board of Education, you have some company there that is selling the school the chalk and making millions of dollars off of it. Okay. So therefore, even though white children and most of your rich white folks are in these private educational schools, they basically hold on to public educational schools so they can get the millions of dollars that these schools have. We're talking about those people who are supplying the chalk or supplying the erasers, the textbooks and things of that nature. So we not only have to look at Black education, but you have to look at also the people who are behind closed doors and follow the money as to who are getting these school contracts in the educational system. Okay, so again, the Black conservative does not look at the causes; they only look at the effects. causes is the most important thing, not the effects. Homelessness is an effect. Okay, black children can't read is an effect. You got to look at what causes that. And you might say, well, because there's not single-headed family. And that's, like I said earlier, that's the white male, white supremacist Fox News talking point. Again, as an effect, it's not a cause. And you got to be very wary and very suspicious of any black person who is basically talking a great deal about um, the effects and not the causes. The welfare system, of course, is a cause, but it also deals with the fact that it's still government. Okay, the conservative and the Democrats can go back and forth on to with the issues of causes, but both of them contribute. Okay, it's not just one party; both of them contribute. Because then you got one person who say, "Okay, I'll give you food stamps," and then you got another person say, "Well, I'm not giving you a damn thing." Both of them cause the issue of homelessness, and with that, and then ignoring our tangibles, ignoring our economic system, ignoring the fact that black people back in the 1980s, when we had our own schools, and we were at 80% of marriages in the black community. Okay. And so therefore we can look at those numbers in the 1960s. You understand? And so there's a lot of problems and issues that black people face, and because of the system keeping us away from economics, refusing to give us our tangible benefits, ignoring and undermining us, those are the real causes of homelessness and discrimination, and the ability to leave our contribution out to the world and not giving adequate education to our children. Those are the causes. You got to look at those causes instead of looking at the Fox News, the Republican, the Democrats version of what cause and effect is when we talk there about black problems and issues. You see, wasting your time. White people is going to be a minority in their own country in the next 15 years. Okay? And the ideal is that we're going to bring other immigrants over to the nation to undermine you Negroes. Okay, I just mentioned, or are going to mention here, that about, we talked there about Afghanistan, for instance, where the United States paid $350 million a day during the Afghan war, and yet claiming that they had no more money available for our reparations and tangible benefits, you see. And that is undermining us. We have immigrants coming from other nations trying to tell black people who have built this country that you niggas are not entitled to anything. And so what we're going to do is we're going to cut in line. Okay. And that's all y'all doing. Y'all cutting in line. Have you ever noticed when you're in the app, when you're in, you're standing in the line at a club, or you're standing in the line at the cafeteria and you're trying to get something to eat, and you get mad at the person who cuts in line? You understand? We have people who cut in line, where the Democrats and Republicans try to undermine us. So immigrants and these Mexicans, Latinos, and other people, and Asians and other folks, they are cutting in line, okay, and getting and obtaining tangible benefits that they are not really supposed to be getting. And this is the way that the white supremacists like Biden and all these other folks, they're running game. You see, the civil rights generation had taught them that you can treat our children the same way you treat us. And they come with this notion that the young people, the young black kids just don't want to work. Okay. And it's more to that. Okay. It's not that they don't want to work, it's that, wait a minute. After we left slavery and then on to Reconstruction, remember, we were doing business with white folks. We had a black community in almost every state in this country, okay, until white people firebomb those businesses. So your children is not looking to work for people because that was the deal that the civil rights generation made with white folks. But their grandchildren and the children are coming up now and saying, wait a minute, we're looking back at our history and we saw where we were once a striving black community, that we didn't have that many Asians and Hispanics and Mexicans over here, and black people were making this type of progress. You see, there's now a different type of reconstruction where you have the Democrats trying to undermine black folks. Why is the Democrats trying to undermine us? Because as we told you, and this is what made me so mad about DL Hugley. Remember, DL Hugley, when asking why is Biden not doing nothing for black folks? You understand? Why is Biden refusing to do something for black people? And you had clowns like DL Hugley, who basically said, even before Biden became the president, who had basically told us that he can't make promises. And mean to tell me that he was making promises to other groups at the same time here. He said that after the election that he was going to meet with Ice Cube on his Black American plan and never did. You see, they're trying to use us. And then when it get down to them being trying to get reelected again, they're going to say, well, you niggas, y'all did not elect us the second term so that we can get a chance to give you anything. But wait a minute. Biden thanked Black Americans for putting him in office. And yet, like I said, everybody knows he's undermining us. Everybody knows that he basically was going and giving all these other folks tangible benefits and trying to undermine us, you see. Thumbs up, like, share, and subscribe. The ScrewTube, of course, have us on a shallow band. They're not sending out the notifications here. And that's okay. We're not going to be here on here long, but we will stay strong. So, but yeah, I wanted to talk about Larry Elder. I think that, and people cannot talk about me not knowing about California homelessness. I just recently visited California. I know how I seen on Skid Row how the homelessness was I seen like RV camp, RV camp trucks down the street going all just way, there's a lot of like tents and people building their own little sheep club houses and stuff. I seen it. I was there not too long ago. So I understand what people were talking about, the homelessness in California. But do you think Larry Elder is going to change it? No. Who's the chick with the big behind you? that's what's her name? I forget. Megan Thee Stallion. Megan Thee Stallion. But anyway, no. But we have to understand that it is a huge problem. Okay. Now, look at the ideal that if Larry Elder becomes California governor. Now, they have recalled a governor before. They have recalled, California is one of the only states where you can recall some of your politicians, like the governor. And I remember when they recalled Gray Davis. And when one of the things that they was upset with him, they were also upset with what's his name, Pete Wilson, because they were still talking about these propositions and stuff. There's a lot of things that California is kind of like, it runs like its own country. That's the reason why California have problems. And Dallas or Texas, for instance, is really competing with California because people thought that California was going to continue to maintain a powerful economic system, and as we warned you on the Black media before, that California is going to continue to price its people out. California is going to continue not only to price its people out, but it's going to continue to try to get the folks who are coming from from other nations. They at some point land in California, Texas. Sometimes they go into Florida and other places, Arizona, of course, Kansas, and they come into these places and they come over here and like hell, tons of people in the truck hiding them in cardboard boxes. And when they come over here, they're basically now have to these people have to be are put on welfare. Okay, and it is putting a toll on the welfare system. Okay, and so one of the things that is important for people to understand is that when Trump had the ideal to close the borders, people were like, "No, don't, no, you can't do that. That's racist and blah 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 blah." Now you're finding out that your system, your welfare system, even though it doesn't work for Black folks, but it works for Mexicans and all these other people. The system itself, though, is being underran. It's being just overwhelmed by so many illegal immigrants. When we talk about these people who are coming from Afghanistan, that is going to be taking places, are going to be taking Black folks places when they find a neighborhood or community. When they're right now they're leaving Afghanistan and they get to find refugees anywhere they want to. The government is trying to make sure that they get all kinds of tangible benefits, okay, because they want to leave Afghanistan because the Taliban is back there. Folks, this is going to be a huge burden on Americans. It's going to be especially a huge burden on Black people, okay? Because see, we never get the tangible benefits that all these other immigrants get. You understand? And so this is going to be a huge burden again. Thumbs up, like, share, and subscribe. So when we talk about people who are being on welfare, remember, welfare started in Europe back in 1600s. The welfare system, which mostly white people are on, okay, was basically, is not only overwhelmed, but when was that Lyndon B. Johnson, when he basically decided he was going to do the projects and stuff like that. Okay, now they're using the same kind of game plan for these folks that's coming in from Afghanistan. You understand? But what the Taliban is saying, and we've been thinking that America have been working with the Taliban all along, but I don't want my YouTube page or YouTube channel to be, missing some stuff. I had to call my cable company, and they said, "No, we're not interrupting your we're not interrupting your internet." And I said, okay, I already know who was doing it. I said, I pay my bills on time, man. Why the hell is my internet's all janky? But when we start speaking truth to power and speaking truth online, we get our internets all cut off. But no, but here's the thing. Here's the thing. Let me just tell you something. Why they're making special accommodations for these people coming over here from Afghanistan. These people are getting treated like they are just royalty. They're going to be setting these people up in hotels, and let's understand something though. We see America has already spent $2.2 trillion on the Afghan war and the Iraqi war. but specifically spent $2.2 trillion already on the Afghan war. You understand? Now, now, answer this question, okay, in the chat. Answer this. Why is it that you have Afghanistan getting $2.2 trillion and they're pretending like they are not working with the Taliban on anything? In addition to that question, you should ask something more importantly. Why is it that the other people wants to leave to come over to the United States? Why do they want to come over to leave to the United States? You had not only Americans there, but you have people in the Taliban, I mean, people in Afghanistan who wants to come over there because they were basically living among Americans. And then when the troops had pulled out, and in other countries like Europe had pulled out, the soldiers had pulled out. Now they're wanting to come back over to the U.S. And the thing about it is that these folks can't have their cake and eat it too. You understand? But Biden is going to accommodate these people. And speaking of Biden, man, they already saying that the man's Alzheimer's is kicking in. They said that Biden basically is he looking all up into the sky, thinking about what. Poor Biden, man, the man is almost 80 years old. they said, and Trump is out there criticizing him. And they said if Trump was still in office, man, everything would have been very, very, very tight. Now, that's what they're saying. I'm not saying y'all support Trump, okay? I'm just saying what they say, okay? But, folks, let me tell you all, we have to understand that America is going to continue to bring people over here to undermine Black folks because America is now becoming a country of immigrants. Well, not a country of immigrants, but a country of just different types of races and other people. It's not going to be a majority white country by 2050 or 2045, 2050. Okay, the white man is going to be a minority in his own nation. So he is basically saying, wait a minute, look what I did for you, y'all Afghans. Look what I did for y'all Mexicans and Hispanics. And look how I did for y'all Asians. We passed that bill, but all of y'all have to go over there and y'all have to basically talk about them niggers. So they're your enemy. They are your enemies, not me, Mr. White Man. We're good to you. Them niggers, they're the ones who've causing all this records. You understand? But this is going to be an issue. See, Biden basically had gotten y'all to vote for him, and you had DL Hugley, who basically said, well, he's not the president, so he can't make you promises. But he's been making he's been making them promises, man. He's been making sure, or they're going to make sure that they get these people free housing. We do not have enough homes built. I don't look, they're saying that there is not enough homes built in the United States for the people that we have in this country. So where are these people going to be living, man? Okay, why are they going to be? It's chaos here. You got a lot of people. Now remember when y'all fell for that eviction moratorium, when y'all kept y'all money instead of paying y'all rent. Remember that during the COVID-19. Now that the landlords is now getting the opportunity to kick some of y'all out of your homes. It was a woman I was talking to her. She was wise as hell. She said, "Man, don't fall for that. Y'all better pay y'all bills because the government may not pay all the bills." And so there was some people who were basically just not paying their bills on purpose and thinking that the government was going to come in and pay half. I'm not saying that it didn't pay some of y'all bills. I'm not saying that. But you have millions of people who, of course, were still waiting on their unemployment compensation, and they had gotten behind on their mortgage payments and got behind on their rent and stuff of that nature. And now you've seen that the whole thing, you have a lot of courts that is basically is overwhelmed now, okay? Because the landlords is wanting y'all out of their homes because y'all are not paying your damn rent. You understand? Oh, it's going to be a crisis, and they're preparing and they're getting everybody prepared for what's going to happen 15 years later. 15 years later, we're listen. It's going to be a minority ran nation. The United States is no longer was going to have white people running everything. White people are not having enough children here. You understand? So they're trying to hold on to the courts. They're trying to hold on to running the police departments because the police and the judges are the two most biggest line of defense besides the military here. Now, let me just tell you something here. It was interesting as ScrewTube was taking off our live feed and stuff like that. ScrewTube have been attacking me, talking about I'm in violation of community standards on their YouTube page because nobody is listening to the white media no more. See, the white media used to be is where everybody go and tune in their news. Now listen, white media, we still listen to some of you. And that because we need for you to tell us what we're going to talk about on our feed. Okay. So don't interrupt our feeds just because you think that because no one is paying you no attention, that we don't look at your media so that we can diagnose and dissect what y'all are saying. Okay. Understand we're looking basically at what's going on in Afghanistan. And Trump, rightfully so, was been calling it down the middle. He's been telling people, it was a disgrace for Biden to just withdraw these U.S. troops out of Afghanistan. Speaking of that, let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, thumbs up, like, share, and subscribe. Okay, like, share, and subscribe. Okay, let's go here to Forbes. Now, the war in Afghanistan cost America 300 million per day for 20 years, with big bills yet to come. You see, that's what it's all about. The United States was at for 20 years. It almost seemed like they were in cahoots with this war already. You understand? Why are you going to pay the Taliban millions of dollars a day? And it's almost like, wait a minute now, this is kind of kind of strange and weird. But the news media, the Forbes goes on to say that the Taliban is in a shocking blitzkrieg, have swept through Afghanistan in less than a month. The 300,000 man Afghan army all but melting away in their path. Afghan President Ashraf Ghani, as he fled to Tajikistan, I hope I said that name right, over the weekend, conceded in a statement that the Taliban has won with a judgment of their swords and guns, and are now responsible for the honor, property, and the self-preservation of their countrymen. You see what I'm saying? And Trump said this. They said that these people have been fighting a civil war for decades. There's no way that you're going to go in there and mess up anything. But, he should be criticizing Bush, though. Okay? But it goes on to say, in what of the honor and property of Afghanistan erstwhile occupiers, United States of America, gone missing? Today, thousands of interpreters and their families await visas to the U.S., while Taliban fighters parade triumphantly and capture tanks and Humvees paid for by Uncle Sam. Now, see, they got the stuff that the United States have left behind. They got all of this stuff that the United States have left behind: trucks, Humvees, All of these things that was brought up was paid for on our tax dollars. You see, this is the reason why we're just getting upset with the United States. They're doing some foolish stuff here. Goes on to say here that in the 20 years since September 11, 2001, the United States has spent more than $2 trillion on the war in Afghanistan. That's $300 million per day, every day for 2 decades, or 50,000 for each of Afghanistan's 40 million people. So, okay, so they were all paid $50,000. Never mind you niggers and your reparations, but we're going to pay these Afghanistan $50,000 each. Okay, goes on to say, in basic terms, Uncle Sam has spent more keeping the Taliban at bay than the net worth of Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, Bill Gates, and the 30 richest billionaires in America combined. Those headline numbers include $800 billion in direct war fighting costs and $85 billion to trains to vanquish the vanquished Afghan army, which folded in the week since the Pentagon's sudden early July closure of Bagram Air Force Base eliminated the promise of air support against the advancing Taliban. U.S. taxpayers have been giving Afghan soldiers $750 million a year in payroll. Now look at how much money they're giving them in payroll. All told, Brown University Cost of War Project estimate the total spending at $2.26 trillion. And the costs are even greater in terms of lives lost. There has been 2,500 U.S. military deaths in Afghanistan and nearly 4,000 more U.S. civilian contractors killed. The pales by size the estimated 69,000 Afghan military police, 47,000 civilians killed, plus 51,000 dead opposition fighters. The cost of so far for care for 20,000 U.S. casualties has been $300 billion, with another $500 billion or so expected to come. Will keep incurring costs long after President Biden pull out from Afghanistan is complete. Naturally, the United States have financed the Afghan war with borrowed money. Brown University researchers estimated that more than $500 billion in interest have already been paid, including the $2.26 trillion total sum, and they figured that by 2050, the cost of interest alone on our Afghan war debt could reach $6.5 trillion. That's amount to $20,000 for each and every U.S. citizen. Videos taken from tarmac of the Kabul airport indicate that the 6,000 U.S. troops sent there has not been able to establish a perimeter even around the runways, where Afghans are shown crawling over one another to squeeze on the planes. One flight is carrying 640 people, with more than 10,000 U.S. citizens said it still be awaiting evacuations and 1,000 more sheltering in place. Some were so desperate to flee Taliban rule that they are clung into the landing gear of the transport departing Kabul airport, only to fall to their deaths as the plane begins to climb. You see, there's even less hope of escape for the generation of Afghan women and girls who grew up in a somewhat more liberalized time, but now face mandatory burqas and evaporated prospects for education and employment, a continuation of Taliban's war against women. There are an estimated of 1.6 million more women employed in Afghanistan's workforce than 20 years ago. The Taliban promises to reverse that, all at a human cost incalculable. Incalculable. I hope I said their name right. I always get tongue-tied here. But just thinking about that, man. You see, we have to understand what's going on here. It was all about oil, okay? And it was willing to basically kill or have American soldiers killed if we're going to basically get the oil from the Afghans, the Taliban or whoever. And so this is going to open up the market. See, the United States, every time that a country says, we're not opening up the markets, then now we got to go to war and say, no, you're going to open up the markets, you see. Okay, that's what happened to Hugo Chavez. He was trying to basically regulate the oil refineries in his country. The United States said, no, Hugo Chavez, you can't do that. You have to open up those oil markets. You understand? And all of a sudden, he gets some type of skin cancer rash and he dies, you see. So we have to look at what's going on. You understand? But the ideal here is that they are now, these women they're saying it's going to go back into what they're calling, um, submission, if you will, that they were basically used to have jobs or whatever, but they no longer would have jobs. But the ideal is that, like I said, these people have been in the Civil War for a very long time. I don't think it's going to be any change in their culture. And now they have basically realized the workforce and stuff like that. They're wanting to come to the United States and continue that. And basically, Joe Biden and all these other people under his administration will help them and give them visas, give them all kinds of what they call it, when amnesty and all this old stuff. They're going to be placed all in housing, and they're going to kick black folks out of. You remember those houses that black folks used to afford? They're going to kick black folks out of those houses and move the Afghans into them so they can, uh, uh, you know, have these types of new homes. Okay, that is going to undermine black folks. Man, if you would that airport, Kabul airport, everybody was trying to leave out to get back to the United States. And this is 20 years that this was going on, since 2001. And it was like, wait a minute. How are you going to basically put your emphasis on this country, Afghanistan, when you have a domestic issue here that you're supposed to be handling and dealing with right here? You see. So Joe Biden is going to go down as, just like Bush, he has screwed up in his 4 years, along with Kamala Harris, than what George Bush did in 8 years. He has did in one term. He's going to basically, everybody is now criticizing him. They are basically saying that he is not a real leader here. And they're basically criticizing this man. This right here falls on his shoulders. Okay, let's remove the fact that this is a Democrat or whatever. Let's not talk about what politics this is. We're talking about the crisis of getting out. Remember, Trump was saying that we shouldn't have left until all the American people were out first. Okay, and the truth shouldn't have left until we got all the Americans out first. Okay, that's what Trump was saying when he did his speech. I guess Trump is running for re-election here, but you see how Biden is just basically everywhere you go, the man is being criticized. You see, and we cannot even find these Biden sexuals because we've been asking him, when are he going to meet with Ice Cube based upon our reparations and our black agenda, since we voted for him to get him in office, and we can't find the black Biden supporters to come on to talk with us about it. We can't find them. If you're a Biden supporter, chat now with us in the chat room here. Bam boom. I like the argument there that you said that that Bill Gates is buying up farmland, that is true. Bill Gates is buying up farmland, right? Beauty and this is America's war, you're right. And you're saying that you don't leave refugees behind a war you started. Of course, people will leave in droves for a better life. Well, well, when you say refugees, those were natives in the country into which they was taking American money. They were taking American money, and they only became refugees when the U.S. soldiers left. So they're in their own homeland. Okay, they're in their own homeland. You see, this is the thing. You see, why is it that a lot of people criticize black folks? But one thing about black people, we never left our homeland. Most of us have not left our homeland to go stay in any parts. And even when we do, we try to just go there and and just live life. You see what I'm saying? Everybody else is escaping, white supremacy, and we're not running from it. We have to deal with the white supremacists for where they are. So if you're calling these people refugees, and I think I mentioned that myself, but I think what we have to really say is that they were in their own country. They were working for 20 years. Women had jobs, and there were some men who had jobs. And for those 20 years, they lived that life in Afghanistan with no issues until the United States military and the European or the what you call them, the UK military pulled out as well. And then now they want to come to the United States because they have experienced somewhat of what the United States do as far as jobs and things of that nature. Women freedom, the right to choose in elections and stuff, things that the Taliban, their own men, did not really give them. Okay. And this is what we're saying here in the United States. A lot of things that is going on around the world. The United States is suffering because it's still trying to maintain itself as being the so-called world police. And there's just some things that you have to let the United Nations do that you can't do by yourself, thinking that you're everybody's police department. You understand? A thumbs up, like, share, and subscribe. But yeah, we wanted to talk about this today. And we wanted to talk about this issue here, man. But they're fit to bring all of these immigrants in here, illegal immigrants. They're fit to bring these people from Afghanistan. And these folks are going to stay in their own little communities and stuff. They're going to be undermining black folks like everybody else, like these Mexicans, other people who come from these other illegal immigrants that comes over in the United States that try to undermine us and who's trying to act racist towards black people. I was driving in speaking of Los Angeles, I was driving in my rental car when I went there, and we stopped at a stop sign, and the police pulled right up behind me. I mean, not behind me, but on the side. And he asked, "Well, where do you get that tag from?" You see what I'm saying? Here is this immigrant who probably only got his citizenship 7 or 8 years ago, asking a natural born citizen about his ability to have a license on his car. What isn't that? You know what I mean? This is kind of like, I mean, of course he was respectful. I'll give him that. But I mean, it's kind of just, man, these people are arrogant when they come over to our nation, the country that my ancestors built, and have the nerves and have the gall to try to question my credentials. You know what I'm saying? And of course, I told them, well, this is a rental car, and I don't know where the man got the tag from, but I'm renting out his car, and I mean, if you want to check the paperwork, I got the paperwork. It's a rental car. The tag is a up to date tag, and I don't know how they do it in California. Of course, I don't know their tag policy, but the ideal of just wanting to then stop a brother, you know what I'm saying, and say, hey, what you doing? As if we all never get our, licenses and tags on time. Okay. Because I'm one person who makes sure that everything is up to date. So but when I get a rental car, I don't know what the rental car people are doing with these cars. But it's just the arrogance of these people. Here, I am a natural born American citizen here. And I'm not saying that they wasn't, but I'm saying that we see this arrogance when they come over to the United States, especially these folks in California. I did not get that much situation like that in Las Vegas. When I went to Las Vegas, it was a little bit different. It really was, even though you had the same kind of people there. Um, But the arrogance of trying to tell me that my stuff is not, up to date. It was just beyond me. It really was. Okay? Thumbs up, like, share, and subscribe. In the chat room, comes from most of the US oil come from Canada and Latin America, not Middle East. Yeah, the Middle East does have, well, there's oil refineries in Afghanistan that they were looking at. That was one of the reasons of the war. Okay. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, if American getting their oil from Canada and Latin America, I mentioned Hugo Chavez. Okay. But anyway, well, I'm gonna go ahead and close out today's podcast. I know you all missed me last week, so I decided that we're gonna go ahead and do a live here. We're gonna try to get the phone lines for you to call next week. But I wanted to do this quick video because we're working on the film Davion and Michaela. So, but we were going to continue this. Steve said that food stamps is reparations. It's okay, Steve. All right. So yeah, but we're going to go ahead and close out this podcast. Don't forget that we're going to have our website up soon. So when you come on live, you'll go to the Lawyer Henderson Show, and also you can leave comments, like, share, and subscribe, and also get latest videos and content from us. And this concludes our video essay tonight, reporting live in Atlanta, Georgia. Thanks for listening. Have a nice day. Don't forget that the book, rather, Foolish American Politics, Let's Discuss the Issues. That book is still available on Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, and wherever bookstores are sold. In fact, we also got the ebook. Go ahead and purchase that book as well. Like, share, and subscribe.